Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SutterHeyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through June 24th are $1 off ground beef, 15% off on aprons, 15% off Cornhead beer, and buy one, get one 50% off on brats and hot dogs, limit 2. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Now's the time to lock in the best deal of the year on a new John Deere sprayer during Landmark Implement's Sprayer Early Order Program. Leverage the industry's latest technology with See and Spray. Target weeds with precision and cut herbicide use. Utilize Exact Apply to save in chemical usage and prevent over-application. Don't forget, secure early order savings and get the sprayer that maximizes every pass. Visit your Landmark location for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? Do you need a lawyer you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion? The attorneys at Liberty Law understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Contact us for a free consultation by calling 877-42-LIBERTY. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
I lose one co-host, but I gain another. He's back. Stricky baby.
Yeah.
What's good?
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. All good, man. Great time for a great cause out there in Allentown, PA with Andre Reed, Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Bills. I told him, Jay said, what's up? He said, man, bump Jay. He was the weakest linebacker that I'd ever seen.
We traded him for a reason.
No. In all fairness, man, it was really good. We got a chance to go down to one of the schools that he supports. Gave a check away, and you get to see the work that the people do in the community, and what's amazing, what I saw there is this particular facility that service services young kids, and they did service teens, but just didn't have the funding to do it, the teens anymore. But how they're able to manage it on a skimpy budget, all the kids that they serve, probably for a year, $1,000 a kid. And so, the help that, the Andre Reed Foundation is doing for them and helping them to maintain the service in the community, and his heart for where he came from, and him and his brothers, and then seeing some guys that I see pretty regularly every year, and getting a chance to hang out with them. But when I tell you, it was blazing hot.
The heat followed you out of town.
In that
it
valley,
was hot for a while,
in that
and then
valley,
it caught up to
it
you.
sat down in there, and woo, it dropped it like it was hot on our shoulders. But we, I learned continuously about myself in the game of sport, and golf is definitely that. And it intrigues me even more on how some of these golfers, when they not only hit the road, but they're playing 4 days straight
of 18
now
holes.
I got to ride. Now I did walk a lot because I really wanted the exercise of it. But for them to walk, not only the 18 holes, walk it, but the mental part of it, each shot, the importance of that on each hole, whether it be par 4, par 5, and for them to sustain it through weather and hot and rain, and you know what, it gave me another deep perspective. But I had to search deep. I had to search deep, and ended up birdieing the last hole and hitting a drive that made you want to come back, but definitely not that day. Definitely not that day. I might get back out there again sometime.
Hey, proud of you for getting through it. Way to go. Sounds like we need a Give to Allentown Day, not just a Give to Lincoln Day. Once again, shout out Ticket Family for everything they did for Matt Talbot Kitchen Outreach this year. Y'all came through in a big way. 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Stricky, got a text from Eric without the K. He says, that was me yelling at Strick when he was walking in.
That was Eric.
That was Eric.
There he was. He did. I heard him say, Stricky. And I waved. But yeah, man, it's good to see you. Thanks for driving by and letting us know that you're there. We appreciate you. We
sure do. Did you appreciate the NBA Finals, Stricky? What'd you think of them? 7 games, Thunder win it. Your reaction to the NBA Finals?
So, first and foremost, great series. Both teams fought. You got to give, you tip your hat. One of them was going to win it. And that was the beautiful part of it as well. You hate to see the way that it ended for Hallie. And to tear. Now, you're already at the end of the season, so you're in June. You're not making it to next season. So they've got to figure out which direction they're going to go. And to get off to the start that he got off to,
3 threes in the first
you know
few
what
minutes,
I mean? Like you really set the tone, and then all of a sudden, boom, you lose. And you can tell the difference it made because McConnell, the pressure amped up by OKC to a whole nother level, and they got after them, and and then the turnovers.
Credit, the Pacers led at halftime.
Yeah,
they weathered it for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, they weathered
it.
And then right after, that little spurt, and they always say that's one of the most important times of a game is that first 5 minutes coming out of after the half. And, obviously OKC started to open it up a little bit. They came back and made it close towards the end, but you could tell that the Thunder was in control, and they did what they had to do to close the day. But one thing that you can find from Indiana is when you lose someone like that, there's lessons that you can take from it. You get to see who's next. You get to see who stepped up. Somebody probably made some money, whoever that may be. Matherin's young still, Nebhart. You got to kind of see and evaluate who's really a solid piece, because it's different in any sport. It's different going from AA to the league, right?
Right.
It's different going against the 2s or the scouts and going against the 1s.
Right.
It's different levels to that thing. And so when you now have to step into that space and not being just a piece on the chessboard. Now you are the queen or the king. You know what I mean?
At least tonight,
right?
Mm-hmm.
You there's a little different eye on you, and so that kind of happened to them. But again, it goes back to the fact that I saw it was a little easier throughout this series for OKC to score as opposed to it was so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
And having to take upon handling responsibilities like for Siakam and you saw the effects. I mean, those guys not necessarily were able to handle it, and that's where Halliburton was so good and effective in that he took a lot of that pressure away from them, and he was a threat at that space. So yeah, man, tough, but shout out to OKC for getting it done.
Unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton's finals run ended early with the Achilles, something that you are familiar with, Strick, something that happened multiple times in the NBA this postseason. I mean, he was the third Achilles pop that the Pacers had this year. Of course, you saw Dame Lillard go down in the first round of the playoffs for the Bucks. And then in the Eastern Conference semis, you have Jason Tatum go down with an Achilles tear. Is it just coincidence that these three things happened back to back to back to NBA stars, or do you think there's something, bigger at play?
I mean, it's very possible there's something bigger. I mean, the conspiracy theorists, the tinfoil hats, I'm not putting that on today.
Oh, you're not?
I'm not going to, but I'm just going to throw it. I'm not going to throw it out.
New week, new Stricky.
But, the fact that they all had zeros, like people are throwing out curses, like
right.
the zero curse. Don't wear that number. Otherwise, you might end up with a pop.
That's how many Achilles you'll have left.
Yeah, right. So, but I think it's something bigger to it, Austin. And we've mentioned it here. On the block, we've mentioned it at times that a lot of these players are playing so much more basketball than we did. Like I can go back to even my time frame, and I've got to say that even those that focused on the craft solely, I think you can see that they still didn't play that much of basketball to the levels that, because AAU still wasn't where it is. Like there was camps, there was 5-star camps and these top 100 camps or whatever, these different camps that you could go to in the MBPA, these different camps that you get invited to, but that's still on a smaller scale. You would go for a weekend and boom, then you would have that time off and you may go to the park and play. But you got to ask the question, man, it is, and that's when I come to this point, because I tore mine after my career was over. But then when I talked to the doctor about it, I asked him the question. I said, hey, listen, what can I do to protect the other one? He said, first and foremost, you really want to keep your calves strong. Because
what happened to Hallie 2 games before?
The calf strain, right? That is a precursor to what transpired. Now, also, there's a move that has been created called the negative step, which puts a lot of strain from that calf area down to that back based on the way that you step.
You step back, you straighten that back leg, and then you try to still get some explosion from it.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw with all 3 of those injuries, right?
Yeah.
With Dame, with Tatum, and with Tyrese Halliburton. That back leg was so far back, you try to push, you stretch that muscle too far, boop, there goes the Achilles.
Yeah, because it's so much strain. And so that goes back to the point that I was talking about, is the doctor said those tendons, or that tendon, or any tendon, is like a tire. There's what they call tread on the tire. After the tire wears, it can splinter, and that's how you get those pops in the tires at different times if you go too long on it. And that's really what it is. There's really a part of that you really need to take time off, and you really need to allow not only the rest but the strength work to make sure that you protect it. And I think that's what's happened. These guys have put a lot of tread a lot of wear and tear. And look, you can't say it's how many games you played, because although we had, different, a lot of it happened with the knees
Right.
back in our time, right? You didn't see the Achilles to the strain. I mean, you obviously saw you had the ones with Dominique, and you have them.
Right.
They happen.
But they
Same
were the
thing.
anomalies, not three in one post.
It wasn't like that, right? So you were able to really still have that time off. And I can tell you for sure that as a veteran, I learned that. I learned that there was a period that I did not set foot in the gym. I didn't go. I said, I'm going to rest my body, going to recover. I'm going to make sure that, then I'm going to start back at pace, not going right back in there. Now I'll go into the gym and shoot some shots and, a lot of free throws, but it will be a lot of standing work, not a whole bunch of running. And then I would build up to it. I would get out, I would hit the sand, we would hit some hills, we would do some things in that level, then get yourself acclimated and then step back on the court. So yeah, it was kind of a routine to it, but it definitely was some off time. And it didn't matter how deep we went into the playoffs. I made sure that I took at least 30 to 60 days before I touched the ball and really got back into the gym. And it allowed me I didn't have any major injuries in my career.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not a dereliction of duty.
No.
That's making sure you're in the best shape that you can be. And that's where, Strick, I think that there's, especially in this day and age of social media, the more you're in the gym, the better. Okay, we want that for our superstars and our best players, but I think at the same time, you have to make sure that the work that's being done when you are in the gym is focused, is with a purpose. And I know that, from talking to you on and off air, you're not a fan of load management or that phrase. But really, Strick, I think if we wanted to negate the importance of load management at the NBA level, that message has to be emphasized repeatedly at the youth level. You don't need kids playing 4 or 5 games a weekend.
Yeah.
Across the country, right? If you're in Atlanta, you're in Charlotte, you're in Chicago, you're in Vegas, 4 weekends out of a month, just for example, that's a lot of travel miles on young bodies. That's a lot of games being played where you can get just as much work, if not even better work done by being in the gym, honing your craft with things that will actually apply to games instead of just playing games. There's a time and a place to play. You need life periods to get recruiting. We don't want, student athletes being recruited to college just off of, workouts against a chair, right? The NBA draft combine is great, but that doesn't need to be the end all be all. There's got to be a better balance struck at the youth level of understanding what load management needs to look like. It's not just rest. It's not just time off. But when these young athletes are actually in season, how purposeful is their work? Instead of just busing them across the country, flying them across the country to play games.
Yeah, just throw you out on the court.
What are we actually doing?
Yeah. And listen, drill work is work, but like you said, it's a focused work.
And it's boring, it's repetitive.
Yeah.
You like to play games, but what do the best of the best do every offseason? They go back to basics.
Yeah, that's a fact. And then you go back to the basics, and then you take inventory on your season. You can go back and watch films. Like what I would used to do is I would go back and I would watch film. I would actually go and watch film where I played bad.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch more film of that so that I can figure out and really do an assessment. Like a lot of people want to go back and watch the good stuff and just
the highlight
and get the dopamine hype and get all excited about how things. I would actually go back and watch a lot of the negatives on the things, the bad games that I had. And then I would be able to assess, okay, what were they doing? Were they doing anything?
Mm-hmm.
Was there something that was off? Was it coming off of a back-to-back? Do I need to get better in conditioning, strength, or was there something there? Was my shot? Oh, in some instances, I would when I get lazy, I would shoot on the way down. Which would cause me to sometimes be short or okay. So then I would make sure that when I did my workouts, my purpose in the workout then would become when I'm tired. So I would do some form of a conditioning with some shooting involved, heavy conditioning with shooting involved late.
Mm-hmm.
And I would then focus on the fact of still shooting at the top, even though I'm tired. So that would be
Especially when
things-
you're tired.
Right, especially when you're tired. So those were things, and I really would do an evaluation of that. Then I would look at, okay, what areas of weakness? What was the scouting report? Not good off the pick and roll on the left side. You get into your synergy stuff, kind of just evaluate that, and then try to break that down. And then now, what can I add to my game? Am I just shooting perimeter shots? Are they running me off threes? Do I need to get to the mid-range? What's my post-up game like? Is there a weakness, or was I better on the right or the left? Then I can then add something to the game, so then my scouting report is not deficient. But it's something that you add. You always want to add something. And that's one of the things you got to love about Kobe is that, he would get with a lot of different players, from your Olajuwons to your Reggie Millers, and he would want to figure out, how did you get open there? Like, what did you do? What's your technique? He asks a lot of questions, and those are some of the good things that you need to do as well.
You mentioned synergy sports, Stricky. I mean, that's like a staple in the NBA. According to the Zach Lowe show, the Lakers hadn't been paying for synergy. They were the only one of the 30 NBA teams that was not utilizing synergy.
Wow.
The Lakers.
Wow. Well, I believe that's part and parcel as to why they sold the team. I think when you go and look at the Lakers weren't willing to have a premium product of a team like they are. They weren't willing to do like the Dodgers. They weren't willing to do like the Yankees.
Right.
They weren't willing to hit the tiers.
Talk about brand complacency.
Yeah,
Where the Lakers
really
will
were.
pull stars.
They really were.
That's it.
They really were. And a lot of that was due to the fact of what Big Daddy Bus, pause,
Jerry.
Big Daddy, yeah, Jerry, Big Daddy, pause. What he would do is he had a willingness to step on the edges, but what was transferred to the children financially, they didn't get the fullness of the money that even Dodgers owner Walters put in. They didn't even get full access to that. So they only really had a small portion of usage of that money. And so this is why they were one of the least teams of one of the big markets to step on those tiers. They weren't willing to go there because they just didn't have it to do it. And so I think this is part why they sold the team. But now I think you're going to see, they're going to step it up. They're going to be willing to go there. And I think you'll see some different things. And again, we're going to see how far they're willing to go. We're going to even see how far LeBron wants to go to the next level, depending on what he does as far as his opt in or out, and pay cut. So we'll see.
Last thing before we hit break, get ready to talk to Brian Munson for a big Husker football recruiting update. Lots going on in that realm. John in Cortland, Stricky, says, defense used to slow the game down. Defense is not at a premium in the NBA. Could that be contributing to potentially more injury?
Well, I think they're on average, it's like 109. The pace of play.
Yeah, possessions
has increased significantly. So if you're looking at the increase in the significance of pace, that's also adding to it. And then and
the game is more spread out with how the players are standing.
Right. So there's a lot more of that. Again, we used to take our time. We would get down and the ball would swing one or two times and we would get it into the big man, and then boom, there was 1-1 and then there was a shot. So we're taking shots at 3. They're taking shots at 18, 15, like we were getting down to shot clock time situations and but getting good shots still. But yeah, we worked from an inside out standpoint a lot more. We took our time. We ran our sets. They're pretty much getting to it right off the bat. So yeah, it's definitely changed.
We'll definitely keep talking some more NBA with Stricky back in the fold, especially at the start of hour number 2. Couple big trades. Got to get Strick's reaction to Kevin Durant going to Houston and Drew Holiday, the first domino to fall out of Boston. We'll get to that at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Coming up, though, we'll have Brian Munson of Husker Online join us in just a moment. Then the shootout with Strick about 3:45 or so. Come back with us. It's On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise cloudy with light winds, and the high near 84. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely, low around 71. And tomorrow, a chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with a high near 94. Meteorologist Powell for 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Now's the time to lock in the best deal of the year on a new John Deere sprayer during Landmark Implement's Sprayer Early Order Program. Leverage the industry's latest technology with See and Spray. Target weeds with precision and cut herbicide use. Utilize Exact Apply to save in chemical usage and prevent over-application. Don't forget, secure early order savings and get the sprayer that maximizes every pass. Visit your Landmark location for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? Do you need a lawyer you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion? The attorneys at Liberty Law understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Contact us for a free consultation by calling 877-42-LIBERTY. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Welcome back in. It's On the Block. Austin Orman and Eric Strickland with you. We're headed to our Honda of Lincoln hotline. Just kidding. Aloe Fiber VIP line. What am I saying? I'm out of routine. I'm out of practice. Our Aloe Fiber VIP line. We're going to welcome in Brian Munson of Husker Online. Brian, you've been on the road. We've been on the road. We've missed out on chatting, and there's a lot to get to. First of all, how are you? How is Texas State?
Oh, Texas State was great. It was San Marcos is just south of Austin for all the people out there that don't know enough about the state, but it's kind of in the middle. And every time I've been there, it's been just scorching hot. We woke up that morning a week or so ago, and it was all right. You know, the overcast was there, and I'm like, oh, this just holds out. We'll be perfect. And got into the stadium, and everything was looking good. Then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, the overcast started to burn off, and I am now peeling up and down my forearms. It was unbearably hot. And the air doesn't move in that stadium at all. So good experience. We got really good feedback. The kiddo was basically told, over and over and over again, we can't believe you're a 2028 recruit. So we're really optimistic about what things could be over the next couple of years.
Incredible. Glad to hear that for your kids' sake. Let's turn our attention to Nebraska football in 2026. It's been a couple weeks since we've talked, and Nebraska football has really gotten busy. Let's start on the offensive line. A couple commits there, Brian. Rex Waterman and Hayden Ainsworth. What do those two commits mean for Nebraska on the offensive line?
Yeah, Waterman's an interesting guy because he's, in the film that you're going to put up on Huddle, he's going to be lining up as an offensive tackle, but Nebraska sees him as an interior guy. And that's always kind of an easier transition to move outside in versus inside out. When you're outside, you're typically, you got more space, number one. Number two, you're usually facing, a much more athletic person. And then when you slide inside, the phone booth kind of concept kind of comes into play. Things are tighter. Sometimes the guy across from the line of scrimmage of you, is a little bit bigger, but then you do get those times where you're combo blocking, working with another offensive lineman, et cetera. So I think it's going to be an easier transition for him. He's been one of those guys since he got the offer and immediately took the visit to Nebraska. You just kind of felt like eventually he was going to end up in the class. So that one happened. And Hayden Ainsworth, great story about Hayden. A lot of people figured with him being down in Mississippi that he was, all but, in on the Rebels and going to Ole Miss. But what a lot of people don't understand or didn't know about him, obviously, is that he spent about 3.5 years in Nebraska growing up to about his 6th grade year. And he's also a really interesting story because the new trend or new fad around college football right now is guys who can reclassify. And what that means essentially is that, not just are they going to graduate early, in December and be at a college in January. Some of these guys have an ability, from a grades and credit perspective to actually just go ahead and reclassify and skip an entire year of high school. And that's exactly what Hayden Ainsworth's going to do. So he in February, he decided he was going to reclassify 2027 to 2026. He has decided to go ahead and skip his senior year. It does have a little bit of a drawback because you don't get to go to Lincoln now early in January. You have to wait until June because he has to wrap up his academics. But Hayden Ainsworth and Rex Waterman, really a couple good gets early on for Nebraska out of that first weekend in June.
As we look at the offensive line, there's another prospect Nebraska's interested in who will be making his decision on Sunday. Claude Mpuma, obviously Nebraska in the running with Ohio State, Michigan, Auburn, and Florida. How do you look at Nebraska's chances of getting good news on the Claude Mpuma front on Sunday?
They're not bad. I mean, I think it was pretty big for Nebraska to get that last official visit with him as he kind of sets off to go into his thinking time and then ultimately his announcement time on Sunday. I think honestly, he's close with Trey Taylor. he's got to see a good situation, I think, at Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to be doing right with him by, according to like the rev share and what they can kind of do to kind of pull things together for him. Out of like essentially like the last 4 remaining offensive tackles, if you kind of pulled them all together, whether it was Obot or Impuma or Cooper or Noyle, you kind of want to put like, Impuma, I think, is maybe a 50% kind of chance for Nebraska. I think it's better than what people kind of anticipate. I think Obot probably is going to end up staying out there on the West Coast, eventually somewhere else down the line. And Cooper's obviously committed to Syracuse, and Noyle just took a visit to Mississippi State. So I think that things were pretty good there too with him. So I know Nebraska would probably like to get at least 2 of these guys here, to play offensive tackle at the next level. And I think Impuma's got to be like the guy that they feel like the best about, and they have to feel like he has tremendous upside. So I think I feel reasonably well going into Sunday. I don't feel reasonably well enough, I guess, to kind of put in my prediction quite yet with him.
Another guy not on the offensive line, but near, that Nebraska snagged a commitment from since we last talked, Luke Sorensen, tight end out of California. What went into his decision? How did Nebraska sway him out of Cali to the Midwest?
Well, I think Luke kind of looked at things a little bit more like, like how's the roster looking? And he looked at like the quarterback's room. And he was like, the quarterback room in Nebraska is amazing. You got Dylan, you're bringing in Dayton, you're bringing in Trey, and that room is just incredibly talented. And I think Satterfield did a pretty amazing job, because if you put him on like paper, like maybe Sorensen doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense, because it's like he's not really like some of the other guys like Nelson and what have you. But I think what people kind of miss when if you don't put the film on him, you don't see a guy that's just, he really uses everything that he has, physically to kind of go play the game of football. He can play inline, he can play flex. I kind of compared him. I think my comparison kind of left some people kind of scratching their heads as to like who that was. But I said Chris Cooley, the old tight end from Utah State and Washington Redskins. I was a big fan of Chris, and Chris was always kind of that sneaky good athlete that kind of just was so incredibly scrappy and, went head to head with Witten and seemed to always kind of get the best of him. I can kind of see like Sorensen like doing the same thing, just kind of just doing things right, right because he's sneaky good, got a little bit more technique on some things. And I think Sorensen's got really, really, really good hands. But I kind of compared him to Cooley, and everybody else, I told people that too, like, who? Like, what? But yeah, people don't remember Chris Cooley. Go back and watch when Utah State visited Nebraska back in the 2000s. You'll see Cooley just tear Nebraska up.
Muntz, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us on the show. Good. I'm going to join in on this conversation today because Nebraska was able to dip down into Florida once again and find the first 4-star of that class in Danny Odom, snagging him away from Penn State, Ohio State, Auburn, and Oklahoma. He kind of reminds me of Tyrone Williams back in the day, same kind of length but what's your thought about the young man and coming over to join the cornerback room?
Yeah, it's a big get because obviously Nebraska had just lost Bronow on a flip from Nebraska to Florida. And I think when you think about the needs of the class, like Bronow was a really interesting guy because of the straight line speed, and obviously he had great length. So if you had these two guys that kind of have similar-ish kind of length to themselves, and you kind of put the film on, and I think the part with Odom is that he's a better tackler than CJ was or is. I think that his ball skills are even better. I think that he's got kind of a suction cup, kind of technique that he gets on that receiver's hip. and he always puts himself in between the receiver and the football. And that's exactly what you want to have those guys doing. And he's always playing the ball. He's got his head around. He's making plays on the football. I think the other side about him that I really, really appreciate is that, you know, when you see a play away and he's sitting there in the flats, just kind of, you know, just maintaining his technique and, you know, kind of having contain out there. If a quarterback decides to like squirm through the offensive line and take off on a run, he'll come downhill and hit you. And that part to me, I think, says a lot about mentality. And you've got to have that mentality to play and be successful, you know, at the D1 level. Not many guys can get around not wanting to play physical in college, especially at D1. And Danny definitely displays his ability to do that. So I think it's a huge get. I don't think people really understand how much back and forth there was yesterday. I mean, this is a real dogfight for Nebraska with Ohio State. So it's a great pull for Nebraska. I think it puts them on like the right trajectory for the rest of the week. There should be potentially some additional commitments to come later this week. And I think that they're just kind of getting some momentum together.
We're talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online on our Aloe Fiber VIP line. Let's stick right there for just a sec, Brian, before we get to the other commit from yesterday. Nebraska, you know, has won its fair share of dogfights against, you know, Ohio State, Penn State, Clemson, Oklahoma, programs like that for a recruit here or there, but Nebraska hasn't always held on to the player. What are the odds that Nebraska is able to keep Danny Odom, and what pushed them over the rest of the field in his mind?
Well, I think Nebraska is able to kind of sharpen their pencil and get competitive, you know, with what they can offer, you know, Danny rev share, what they can kind of do with all the things there. I think obviously Danny has to really appreciate the fact that I think, number one, that Addison Williams, you know, in his short amount of time being there in Lincoln, you know, really made him feel like an important part to that class. I think that's one of the guys that Coach Williams was like on right away, number one. And that makes a lot of sense because, I mean, coming from UCF, you know, Danny's in the backyard in Orlando, so that makes total sense to me. But I think the part also that he has to appreciate is the fact that, you know, all the pro experience, the likelihood that those guys can get you ready to go play at the professional level, even a path to the field is going to be somewhat critical here because, I mean, the fact that Nebraska runs, you know, that odd front and they kind of bring more athleticism out there by putting additional defensive backs on the field, that really opens the door up, you know, for those guys to play. And Odom, you know, I think while he's more of a traditional kind of boundary corner, I think he can do a lot more things than just that one thing. I think you can kind of figure him in for that, but I think he's versatile. I think he can roll him into some other situations that get him on the field and keep him on the field. So I think early playing time, obviously what Nebraska was able to do to kind of compare to like Ohio State. And I think that he just felt like he was a priority based on what the coaching staff was telling him and how he sees himself in the class.
The other commit from yesterday then was on the offensive side of the ball in the running back room. Jamal Rule, no known relation to Matt Rule, different spelled last name. What does the staff and running backs coach EJ Barthel like about the 3-star guy Jamal Rule out of Charlotte?
Yeah, you put on the film, there's a lot to like. He's a big play guy. I mean, he averaged like over 9 yards a carry last year. I think that he's very consistent, you know, with his play. But I think the other part that I really, really like, I think the best thing about him and what's going to happen when he gets to Lincoln is you take his running style, his vision, his, you know, put that foot in the ground and kind of get north-south, you know, right away, and his patience, you know, to kind of do all that stuff. I think that what you do, and you combine that with like that zone blocking style that Nebraska has, it's going to create a bunch of cutback lanes. And I think that that's where, you know, a guy like Rule is going to have a chance to really hurt some teams, is when the backside cuts are there. He's going to have the vision to go ahead and see the holes develop and get upfield. And I think the other part that does get missed, and it's not as easy to kind of tell, but the way he kind of initiates contact at the end, I feel like he is always falling forward, always gaining yards at the end of the play. I think that part to me is pretty important, because I think if you're considering a guy that knows that, I can get it to like 2nd and 3 versus 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5, I think what that does, the flexibility, like in the Holgerson's playbook and the play calling, you don't have a play necessarily to kind of throw away, but even if you kind of said that you did, you still have 2 downs to kind of go gain 3 yards versus 2 downs to go get 5 or 6. And I think that's the extra value that you get kind of with Jamal, is that I always see him when he ends plays, he is going forward. He's not moving laterally. He's really moving north-south. He's really trying to push forward. He's got everything kind of jets going forward. And I think that part ultimately to me it kind of says a lot about his mindset. And I think it's all obviously too about his physicality, which I think Nebraska has to appreciate, knowing that he's going to go run in the Big Ten.
Will Nebraska be one and done in the running back room with Rule in this class, or are they looking somewhere else?
I think they are. I thought for a while that maybe it might make sense if they could go ahead and get Bonner to kind of go along with Rule, but I think that they're one and done. I'm kind of putting this class at like a cap at around 15, maybe getting to 16, maybe 17 guys. I mean, so, given like where you're at currently, like you're talking like 2 more offensive tackles, I would say 2 to 3 wide receivers in total in the class. And then you're talking about like maybe 1 defensive lineman, and that's kind of a mystery because you get like Sony that's there, but you don't know like really where he's going to go. So maybe Nebraska's going to have to figure out like somewhere else down the line, like if they can go poach a guy. Linebacker's a bit of a mystery. Then there's about 3 or 4 names like a defensive back where I think that they could go ahead and take 2. And then I think the one wild card that we're not talking about, or nobody is anyway, is about long snapper. You could end up taking a guy like Sam Dolphins out of Papillion South, or another guy nationally, but if you have a one and done, guy at long snapper, you have one of the best ones in the country growing up underneath your nose at Papillion South. So it's really going to be, I think, a number that doesn't come close to 20. I think it's, like I said, 15, 16, 17 if everything like includes like a long snapper as part of that number. Otherwise, I think it's more of a 15 to 16 number.
There you have it. That's a Husker football recruiting update courtesy of Brian Munson of Husker Online, huskeronline.com. Check it out there. And Brian Munson _ on Twitter. B Munson, good to catch up with you again, my friend. Get some aloe vera on those forearms, please. And hope to catch up with you again soon.
Later, guys. We'll talk soon.
Brian joined us on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber. Aloe Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Stricky, you're back in the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
We're playing the shootout.
Yeah, it's hot. It's raining outside, so get ready.
You can make it rain points on shootout?
That's a fact.
We'll see. 402-464-5685. Call our Honda Flinging hotline. Take on Strick for your chance to win $30 to Wings and Rings after this.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and the hail sale has been a huge success, but is winding down. We still though have several units with huge discounts. Plus, we have brand new Sierras, $14,000 off list, or starting at $37,105, or 0.9% APR on select new models. Yes, you heard right. $14,000 off or 0.9% APR on new Sierras starting at $37,105. So please check us out at cobblecars.com. All deals with roof credit, stock number G289358.
Introduce High Electric for those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lake forecast for today, a chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise cloudy with light winds, and the high near 84. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely, low around 71. And tomorrow, a chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny, breezy, and hot with a high near 94. Meteorologist Powell for 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes, Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? Do you need a lawyer you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion? The attorneys at Liberty Law understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Contact us for a free consultation by calling 877-42-LIBERTY. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through June 24th are $1 off ground beef, 15% off on aprons, 15% off cornhead beer, and buy one, get one 50% off on brats and hot dogs, limit 2. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
That's right. The game is the Shootout with Strick. We have our contestant on our Honda of Lincoln hotline. That contestant is Neil. Neil, how are you today?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Good. We're living life. We're living the dream. Thanks for calling and playing. We'll give Strick his questions first, then we'll get to you. Sound like a plan?
Right on.
All right, Stricky, your round, focused on the NBA draft, starts in 3, 2, and 1. He was the first overall pick in the 2018 NBA draft. Marvin Bagley III or DeAndre Ayton?
DeAndre.
Yep, he was the first overall pick in the 2010 NBA draft. DeMarcus Cousins or John Wall?
Wall.
Yep, he's the most recent first overall pick for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Andrew Wiggins or Karl Anthony Towns?
The most recent?
More recent.
Towns.
Recent. It is Towns. And he's the only player drafted number 1 overall by the Dallas Mavericks.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No! Did not get it off. Did not get it off. Do you still have your guess that won't count?
Overall, Aguirre.
Mark Aguirre.
Dang it! I knew it. I just couldn't get it off. I almost said Big Draws. That's his nickname.
I would not have known who that was.
Yeah, I know. You wouldn't have given it to me. Oh,
I would not.
shoot.
That's still a 3-point round. Still a 3-point round. Neil, 3 to tie, 4 or more to win. You ready for your round?
Yep.
Okay, starts here in 3, 2, and 1. He was the first overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft. Blake Griffin or James Harden?
Blake Griffin.
Yes, he was the first overall pick in the 1992 NBA draft. Alonzo Mourning or Shaquille O'Neal?
I got no idea. Let's go Shaq.
It was Shaq. He's the most recent first overall pick for the Houston Rockets. Yao Ming or Jalen Green?
Yao Ming.
It was Yao, and he was the first overall pick in the 2003 NBA draft.
2003. LeBron James.
Mother sucker. God dang it.
Boom shakalaka.
Finishing flawless. Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
I can't blame you for that, man. I normally would blame Austin, but I can't blame Austin for that.
You just had to say big draws.
Just should have said big draws.
Neil, congratulations on the win. You're wearing the big draws today. You win the $30 to Wings and Rings. Stay on the line. We'll get your information, get you hooked up with Wings and Rings.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You as well.
Dang it.
I gave you a Mavs one, Stricky.
No,
I tried. I gave you a Mavs one.
It was right there, man. I'm like, spit it out, Strick. man, I should have had Uncle Kevy here. I would have gotten it if I would have had Uncle Kevy here.
You think Uncle Kev knows who Mark Aguirre is?
No, I just would have had a sip of something. I would have.
No, you sip after shootout on Thursdays. You've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking
you would have been distracted. You wouldn't have gotten it.
That's a fact.
That's all right. We got more NBA to talk. Couple trades, Stricky. KD to Houston and Boston. The first domino has fallen for them. Drew Holiday back to Portland. Then another conversation with a guest, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Congrats to Neil winning the shootout. We'll play again on Thursday. We'll be back with hour 2 of the show after this.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Now's the time to lock in the best deal of the year on a new John Deere sprayer during Landmark Implement's Sprayer Early Order Program. Leverage the industry's latest technology with See and Spray. Target weeds with precision and cut herbicide use. Utilize Exact Apply to save in chemical usage and prevent over-application. Don't forget, secure early order savings and get the sprayer that maximizes every pass. Visit your Landmark location for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and digital insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
In today's digital world, technology works great until it doesn't. At Hamilton, we work to keep your business up and running. We are more than an IT company. We're your partner, focused on customized solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Say goodbye to tech stress and unexpected IT costs when you hire Hamilton. Together, we help you focus on what really matters. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
I want to ride. Do you want to ride? June is officially riding month at Rod's Power Sports, Nebraska's largest volume Honda Power Sports dealership. Come in now and take advantage of huge savings and a great inventory selection during Rod's I Want to Ride celebration days all month long. Simply schedule a qualified demo ride on one of their new Honda motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, or side-by-sides, or purchase a new or used vehicle, and you get a free custom I Want to Ride t-shirt. Plus, all month long, they have 10% discounts on all wearables, parts, accessories, and oil change kits when purchased with a new or used Honda. Free refreshments served each Saturday morning in June. Just show up and say, I want to ride, and they'll fix you up with some free stuff and help you pick out that new ride. Come ride with Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln or online at rodspowersports.com. For your safety, read the owner's manual and always wear a helmet and eye protection. Honda Power Sports vehicles are for riders 16 years and older. Honda recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer, Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
That's right. Hour 2 of On the Block. Austin and Strick with you. Jay on the road. He'll be on stream tomorrow and Thursday. Don't forget, Friday is our first BP with DP. Keep listening here. We'll give you a chance to win tickets, as well as potentially the opportunity to take some swings with the Salt Dogs ahead of their game on Friday. If you want to get powered up to take some BP, make sure you visit the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Check them out online at themercadobutcher.com. Visit any of their 3 Lincoln or 1 Omaha locations today. Just for fun, Strick, we're going to play the tiebreaker question because it brings me great joy. When is the most recent NBA draft that the University of North Carolina has had a top 5 pick?
What year?
Yes, what year? Which year's NBA draft is the most recent one that features a North Carolina Tar Heel being selected in the top 5?
Hold on.
You Googling me? Are you Googling me?
No, I'm trying to figure out the year that this particular.
You're Googling me.
I'm trying to figure out the year that this particular person came into the league.
It was not Harrison Barnes. If that's
No,
who you're
I know
looking
that.
up. Okay.
You said first round, first 5 pick,
Top
right?
5.
What year was he? So 98.
Slightly more recent than that.
Dang it.
2005.
Was it Hansbrough?
No. It was Marvin Williams went number 2 and Raymond Felton went number 5.
Oh, really?
Those are the most recent top 5 picks from
That's
Carolina.
crazy.
20 years.
I thought it was Vince.
Yeah.
And James
Psycho T.
Yeah.
Anton later. Yeah.
God, okay.
They've had
Felton was 5th, huh?
number 5. Yeah.
Wow.
They've had some top 10s, couple number 7s. Harrison Barnes went number 7.
2 didn't
Kobe White
pan
went
out,
number
did it?
7. Marvin Williams was meh.
Was he in Boston? Was he in that time?
Charlotte took him. I think he got to Boston.
He got to
eventually.
Boston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very meh.
He did last until 1920. He was just kind of hanging around. Let's see.
Wow.
So he started his career in Atlanta, then went to Utah, Charlotte.
I just
And then
really don't
Boston.
even remember.
No, he did not make it to Boston.
He didn't make it to Boston.
No, Milwaukee.
Okay. Oh, it was
So.
Milwaukee. Wow. I very vague remember his career.
Marvin Williams' middle name, Marvin Gaye Williams, like the musical artist, Marvin Gaye.
They were listening when it went down.
Hey.
when he was a sparkle in the eye, that must have been playing in the background. You're derived from Marvin Gaye.
Names are meant to be meaningful. Woo! Okay, TMI, Mom and Dad.
Wow, Mom and
TMI.
Dad. Yeah, that song was playing. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Stricky, KD to the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
What you think?
I think again, it's easy to look at these type of situations on the surface and just say, what it is. We saw that they gave, you had a couple of shots at it with Jalen, didn't really perform.
Mm-hmm.
If you mirror Jalen's playoff numbers with KD's career playoff numbers with over 160 something games, maybe 70,
mm-hmm.
his numbers blow you out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Then the business part of it is Jalen Green is approaching an unrestricted free agency. So you've had to make a decision. We're there on the cusp. We like the team that we've built. We get rid of some of the headache, but we also don't have to deal with the prospect of making a decision of FOMOing and missing out or not on a young talent. We put that onus on someone else, and we kind of kick the can down the road with a star that's aging but still productive.
Incredibly productive.
Incredibly productive. So it's one of those things where you couple him with Şengün, solid point guard play out of Van Vliet, great defensive guys, so you can mask Kate. So
you don't even really have to hide him.
No, there's so much diversity there now.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much diversity in the style of play that they can throw at you. I think it's good for Houston. I think not having to, give up the kitchen sink for it is huge, right? So you unload a contract in Brooks, you unload, the potential of that. So I think it works across the board. I think it's a good find for them, no doubt.
I think it's really good for Houston, whose biggest issue was scoring in the
Yeah.
playoffs against a good, but maybe not elite defense in Golden State.
Yeah.
Getting KD is going to help solve that in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But then, Strick, the flip side of that is Phoenix. What is you doing?
Yeah.
You get another shooting guard. You have Devin Booker. That's his best position.
Yeah.
Still trying to find out what you can do with Bradley Beal, because you can't do what you want to do with him.
No.
What you got to do. Grayson Allen is a 40+% career 3-point shooter who's on the roster. Now you had Jalen Green, who's probably the worst of that group. You thought he had the highest ceiling, maybe when he was drafted by the Rockets. That hasn't happened yet. That's 4 shooting guards, not a true point guard among them in Houston. You've asked Booker to play point, and that's unfair to him, the guy that should be the face of your franchise. You don't want to get rid of him. Oh, and then you get Dylan Brooks, who I don't know if he's real tough or fake tough. Maybe he'll help, maybe he won't. You weren't able to get a center, which has been a gap for you since you got rid of Ayton, who you needed to get rid of, but haven't replaced since then. And you didn't get any of your 3 first-round picks back.
Mm-hmm.
You got the number 10, which was originally yours, so you got like 1 out of 4. But you couldn't get back even your 2029 first-round pick furthest down the road? You
5 second rounds don't really do. Yeah, they're
really.
Yeah,
that's all you could do.
Yeah, that's wild. But hey, listen, they've been a debacle since Ishbia took over. As far
before
as
that,
yeah,
even
Sarver
before
was
that, not great.
Yeah. So they haven't been able to figure it out in the Valley of the Sun, but it doesn't make sense on the surface. So you got to ask the question: is there still something else to happen? They can't do anything with Bill. That's a wrap.
They got to buy him out at this point.
They're going to have to buy him out, and to not address the point guard situation is something that's really perturbing to me. I figured that yes, if you move him, you could do it for some form of a point guard to try to get Booker back to his original place. And then if you want to play Beal at the 3, he can do that. But to still not address that situation is wild to me. Yeah.
You don't get a point guard. You don't get a center. I mean, I think that's kind of where Jabari Smith is ending up for Houston, where he's a 4, maybe a 5, depending on the lineup. You couldn't even get him, from Houston for Kevin freaking Durant, who is still near the top of his game, even at 37, even after an Achilles injury. Cubsker says, do the Suns pivot and trade one of the other shooting guards for a center? They're going to try. But Strick, I think this deal that they made with the Rockets, it worries me that the Suns have opened themselves up to bad business. They made a desperation move. Mm-hmm. They didn't trade KD at the deadline.
And they're going to pay Jalen, which is going to be another heavy, what is it called? An anchor.
Yep, going to weigh him down.
Yeah.
The Suns look desperate to get a deal done. They had to send Durant to one of these last few places that he said were his preferred suitors at this point, because he would turn down a trade pretty much anywhere else. And now you have a bunch of shooting guards on your roster. There's only one of them, I think, that provides any real trade value, and that's Devin Booker.
That's Booker.
But you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You can't afford to do that.
The only way you do that is, like you said, if you can get a haul for him and you want to blow the team up. I think they should. I think that's where they are. They need to blow it up and try to get assets at this point. Mm-hmm. And so you're teetering. You're basically bottom half play-in potential.
If everything clicks.
If everything clicks.
If your
that's
first
if
round
you're
draft
on your
pick
best.
Yes.
That's it.
For 82 games.
Right.
You maybe get there.
Right. Maybe. And otherwise you're out. So that's I think you do. Devin Booker is a plug-and-play guy in a lot of systems.
Look at the Olympics.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to be bullheaded, bro.
Mm.
I think they're going to be bullheaded. You know what the in the rodeo where you're the guy that has the rope and you have to wrap the calves and you're riding and you miss and you try to miss and then you get him half down and then you're still no, bro, time's up. You're not going to be able, like, that's where they are. They're still trying to rope the playoff situation and they can't get it done in the time that's suited. I think they need to just go ahead and blow it up at this point. That's just my opinion.
Let's stick in the Western Conference with Portland. They get Drew Holiday again. Never forget, Drew Holiday was already in Portland as part of the Dame Lillard deal that sent Dame not to Miami, but instead to Milwaukee. Strick, this deal was Drew Holiday to Portland, Anthony Simons, and a couple second-round picks back to Boston. What do you think about that deal for both sides?
So Portland has been a place where you go to,
you
go
put
to
out
sleep.
the pasture.
Yeah, you go. You're the bull that made a whole bunch of calves, and now they just send you out there. Yeah, just to go along.
Powder's
in your
dry,
way, right? Now let's get business.
Mm-hmm.
Celtics had to do this.
Yeah.
Right? You're at a point now where you're going to be tough to get Tatum back.
Mm-hmm.
You've already made the decision that you don't want to move Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's one of your better assets that you could have moved. You like White because of the versatility of being able to handle, play, defend. Drew is kind of he's solid, but he's not like a difference maker, right?
Not at 35.
No, he's not. He's not that guy.
He's fine.
He's
okay.
fine. Yeah,
but not for 30 plus.
And that part. So you're already tiered up, and you had to dump salary, and he's probably one of the best. And that doesn't even mean that he's locked in stock there. Right. We've seen it happen with him before. 1 stop, 2 stop, 1 stop. It's very possible that he could be another asset to trade, because it doesn't look like it makes sense. Like, they've taken a lot of flyers on super athletic guards that can combo it up. And Anthony Simons is one of those guys. I think he's a tremendous, he's got upside to him, but I think the system matters for him. I think it was way too lackadaisical, not a lot of discipline out in Portland. Not to say that Chauncey's not advocating for that, but maybe a new scenery going out west, out east. I mean, can help him out in his career. But they had to make this move. They had to unload salary, and he's got a lot of it.
Do you want my Portland thoughts or my Boston thoughts first?
Let's go. Let's go with the trash first.
Okay. I don't love this for Portland. It's Drew at 35-36 and a player option for like 37 mil at age 37. But you mentioned discipline. Even defensively, Stricky, Drew's still fine. He's still good. You can plug and play. He'll fit culture, good leader type of player. I saw some stats on this. So last year, so per Cleaning the Glass, the Blazers had a 110.3 defensive rating with Tumani Kamara, second team all defense player, and Kling Kong, Donovan Clingan on the floor. If those two guys,
I like that,
Kamara and Clingan, those two guys on the floor, last year Portland's defense was equivalent to number 3 in the entire NBA. Simons was not a good defender at all. Barely tried. Drew's effort will at least help him on that end, and maybe he can still dial it up from time to time. Maybe Portland is going in on defense. This is what we want to do. We're going to be, kind of like the Rockets in the Pacific Northwest, go in on grit, toughness, have one or two offensive playmakers. That's really going to be Denny Avdija, who took a big step last year. They seem to like Scoot Henderson, who played better after the All-Star break, and see what you mentioned, that long athletic guy, Shaedon Sharp.
Yeah.
They're going all in on him instead of on Anthony Simons, who, this is where we'll transition to Boston, I think is a better fit for him right now. Expiring deal, works for him and for Boston.
Yeah.
Great place for him to try to play his way into new money.
Yeah, especially with Tatum out. He's going to get some, go ahead. Creator
Opportunity for him, I think, maybe with the bench, maybe with the starter, so he'll be able to showcase he's more than just a shooter. That's a, high 30s, low 40s% three-point shooter on insane volume, like 8 to 10 threes per game from Anthony Simons. And on the one hand, Strick, I think this...
And we know that's what Boston likes to do.
They play the math. They play the numbers. I think it's a great fit for him, and I think it's pretty low risk for Boston as well. What it reminds me of in some ways, Strick, is when Golden State traded for D'Angelo Russell. If it works, great. We got another creator, we got another shooter, got another scorer. If it doesn't work, here's a flippable contract. For Boston, again, he's on an expiring. Some team might need some bench scoring.
Yeah.
If Boston finds themselves out of it by the trade deadline, If it works, great. Maybe Boston can re-up with him. He's a part of the core.
Because you're going to get Tatum back by trade deadline, I think.
Ooh, you think?
I think he can. I think he can.
But will you get full Tatum by the trade deadline?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So it just depends on what his recovery. Like if he recovers in the fashion that like KD did, it's going to take work.
Oh yeah.
But the technology is a lot better now. The rehab will be a lot better. He'll definitely have to work on calf strength because that's. These Slim Reaper guys, man, that's where a lot of their issue comes. They that calf with those negative steps, man. It just it's tough to handle it. But yeah.
This is where I want to tie Portland and Boston together as trade partners, Strick. There's a lot of reporting that outside of Portland, there were 3 other teams very interested in Drew Holiday. Sacramento, whatever. Toronto.
That's another Eastern. That's the Eastern Portland.
In division as well. The one that most intrigued me, though, Dallas.
Wow.
Give me your thoughts as to why you think Dallas would have been interested in Drew Holiday.
That's an area that they really wanted to address. That's one of the areas they didn't like about Luka is the consistency there as guarding. They actually really want to be a good defensive team. They have some areas of deficiency, especially. I think it's more of a want to at the forward positions. They're long. Sometimes I think when they were at their best, the year that they went to the finals, they were really good. And obviously some of those players moved on. And but they need to get back to that. They need to get back to that as an identity. And I think that's what Nico Harrison and that group wants to really have is a defensive mindset mentality. They definitely have it on the inside. You've got AD, one of the best to do it on the inside. Gafford's one of the good ones there.
Cooper Flag on the way.
So he's willing to defend as well. He has a mindset of that. So the rim protection is definitely going to be there for them. So they wanted to get something more out front, make things more challenging for them. And so I can understand why you would look at that. Now, money-wise, that's another issue.
I know that you're not wearing the tinfoil hat, but did you at least bring it with you today?
Yeah.
Can you pass it down the table? Thank you. Kyrie Irving out.
Mm-hmm.
Need a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Place a stopgap, right?
Yeah.
Try Drew for a year. Fit into defensive identity.
And like you said, he won't go in there and be overly aggressive.
No.
He'll run the team.
He'll do his job.
Mm-hmm.
Boston has long been interested in Anthony Davis. I wonder if Boston's plan, since they're shopping Porzingis as well, and Horford's a free agent, if Boston didn't try to get Drew to Dallas, and if that wasn't going to be for Anthony Davis, who wants to play not center but power forward, where that was Cooper Flagg's position at Duke. Maybe he's a small forward in the league. Maybe he grows into four. I don't know.
Right now.
But hypothetically, Boston loved AD. Dallas needs that kind of stopgap point guard at least for a year with Kyrie out till trade deadline with the ACL or whatever. I wonder if that's what Boston was going for. Try to get AD. You know they're trying to move off Porzingis. Brad Stevens has wanted him for a while. A lot of rumors back there when Kyrie was up there. I wonder if that was the angle for Boston.
It's very much possibly so. It is probably a reason why it didn't work, because I know that they're not going to give up. Do you understand if they gave up him for a Porzingis return?
Woo.
Do you understand what the city? You thought you saw some stuff on TV just recently. Dallas would have really been on blaze,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so they ain't dumb.
No.
Like, they may be stupid, but they ain't dumb. There's a song out, man, that if they would have done that, I would have been playing. It's called "Dumb Girl." Dumb, 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 dumb. I would have been playing that song. I've been like, y'all are, I would have had to make a text message to Nico. What the y'all doing there? I really would have, man. It's crazy if they would have done that.
I know.
But I'm glad they didn't.
One other trade to get to here in just the few short minutes we have before we go to break and call up Evan Blaine of the Omaha World Herald. This one, Stricky, is from New Orleans and Washington. The Pelicans and the Wizards are trade partners.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. The Pelicans trade C.J. McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second to Washington for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and this year's number 40. This gets a big ol' why was this necessary for me?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Basically, a similar type style of player, maybe a little bit more crafty out of Poole, but he's younger.
Mm-hmm.
Has a contract, don't have to make a decision on it. McCollum's a little older, aging a little bit. So you just probably want to get some younger juice in there. Olynyk's contract is a mess.
Yeah.
You unload that. And, you know, it's kind of like if you have a similar type of Pokemon or something and you just exchange the
I don't want
really, why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? But okay, you know, I wanted fire, but you know, you give me lightning. I mean, they both can do the same type of thing, but yeah, it's one of those type of things. It's really not much to it. It's
Are you worried about Jordan Poole in New Orleans? He was growing up a little bit in Washington. It was happening behind the scenes.
He was starting,
He was starting to.
But types of city, they're very similar. Like DC is, you know, if you're a young guy, it's a lively city.
Okay.
Portland's lively, just a little bit
New
more
Orleans.
southern. Yeah, just a little more southern flavor. New Orleans. New Orleans. But I think they just they wanted a little bit more moxie, a little bit more like swag.
Aura.
Yeah, a
as the
little
kids
bit
would
more
say.
that carries a little bit more of that, because they really don't have that down there. They have gritty, you know, Alvarado, and you know, at the position, they really don't have that guy that's swag like that. You know what I mean? McCallum's old and aging out a little bit. I still think they still may be trying to shop Zion. So they may be wanting to look at a start over and maybe using him as a piece, give him a little bit of confidence, and put him out there. It's kind of a fly, but they really don't have. There's like where can they really go? It's just like, one of those things to show as if we're doing something. You know what I mean? But really, is it something, or is it just, looks like it's a perception thing, I think. And I think teams do that at times. They make it look like they're doing something, but it's really, is it impactful? We'll see. It's kind of a flyer.
As Jay Foreman would say, don't confuse movement with progress. This is movement.
Yeah, it's just
I think for both teams. Yeah. The funniest piece of analysis I saw on this trade came from Robbie Calland, who said, the Pelicans saw how DeJounte Murray and Trae Young went together in Atlanta and said, we need that for us, but a little bit worse.
Right? Right?
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. I mean, but like I said, it's a flyer. It's a chance. Hopefully you look at it and say maybe he's matured. He started to come alive. He struggled early and came alive late. Maybe you're saying that'll carry over. Maybe he's matured another year. Maybe in some conversation, you can get an idea of what you have mentally upstairs. So I don't know, man. This is all. This in the West, it's not going to matter whether he's.
What matters for them is Zion playing at an All-NBA level.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, Poole being an addition to that. Yeah, cool, but
nah,
it's not going to matter in the West.
I agree. What is going to matter? Our conversation with Evan Bland. Lots to get to. Recapping the College World Series, Husker baseball, Husker football, maybe some more with Evan right after this.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through June 24th are $1 off ground beef, 15% off on aprons, 15% off Cornhead beer, and buy one, get one 50% off on brats and hot dogs, limit 2. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
I want to ride. Do you want to ride? June is officially riding month at Rod's Power Sports, Nebraska's largest volume Honda power sports dealership. Come in now and take advantage of huge savings and a great inventory selection during Rod's I Want to Ride celebration days all month long. Simply schedule a qualified demo ride on one of their new Honda motorcycles, ATVs, scooters, or side-by-sides, or purchase a new or used vehicle, and you get a free custom I Want to Ride t-shirt. Plus, all month long, they have 10% discounts on all wearables, parts, accessories, and oil change kits when purchased with a new or used Honda. Free refreshments served each Saturday morning in June. Just show up and say, I want to ride, and they'll fix you up with some free stuff and help you pick out that new ride. Come ride with Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln or online at rodspowersports.com. For your safety, read the owner's manual and always wear a helmet and eye protection. Honda Power Sports vehicles are for riders 16 years and older. Honda recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Welcome back into On the Block. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you. But we are headed to our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We're welcoming in on a Tuesday, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Well-deserved summer vacation on tap for Evan, so he's moving up a day. Evan, how was the College World Series? How did you like the 2025 edition?
I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I thought the pace of play was good. The action was fun. A lot of memorable games. You had different conferences represented, and even had a little bit of unwarranted, probably, controversy in the deciding game with the ejection early on. So it's an event that I think continues to grow and settle into downtown and draw big crowds. And this year did nothing, I think, to change what that's going to continue to be.
When you look back on the 2025 College World Series, what's going to stand out to you as the most notable performance or headline? What are you going to remember the 2025 series for?
Well, I mean, the Gage Wood 19 strikeout no-hitter has to be at the very top. I mean, that's one of the most dominant pitching performances at any level. And considering the stakes, it was an elimination game. And I mean, it was just, it's historic stuff right there. 19 strikeouts, your only flaw keeping you from perfection was hitting the guy with a breaking pitch, like on the toe in the 8th inning. So, I mean, that was pretty remarkable. The Cade Anderson game to start the finals with LSU, I think it's possible he could be the number 1 overall pick here next month. And so that's something maybe that you can look back on a little bit more into the future and appreciate what he did even more. I thought the first 2 days, the games were all interesting and dramatic. And then, of course, you got to put the Arkansas LSU game pretty high on that list, too, that knocked out the Hogs, where you go from not trying to turn a winning double play to dropping the game-winning fly out to giving up the game-winning hit that loses it for you. I mean, what a turn of event that thing was. So, I mean, a lot of fun games, kind of like I wrote about today. The home runs were way down this year, but I think a lot of that was because of the pitching that we did see. And, I suppose if you were in attendance, the weather could be memorable too, just in terms of mid-20s winds and 90-degree temperatures and everything else. But no, I thought every day there was a game that was memorable or a moment. I think a lot of future draft prospects probably ended up participating, not just guys that are going this year too. So it's a fun event. I think it continues to be something that even for a casual baseball fan or just a casual sports fan, like, show up and you can do some shopping and get some good food, and the games are entertaining. And so I thought it really checked just about all the boxes again this year.
I don't know the best order to go through these ends. We're just going to take some of these teams and moments one game at a time. I think a criminally underrated game from this College World Series was the Oregon State-Louisville one. Louisville's up. Oregon State comes back to tie it in the ninth. Then there's the walk-off. I was a little bummed that game got overshadowed because neither of those teams made it any further. But, Evan, that's the game that I think, outside of the obvious LSU, Arkansas, and championship series, that's the game that, for my money, was the best one of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that was way up there for sure. And you're right. It does kind of get overshadowed just because those teams didn't end up sticking around longer. I thought I'd put Louisville, Arizona up there pretty high too. Arizona had that lead, and Louisville had I think it was a 6-run eighth that flipped that thing. And that was a fun team too. I mean, Louisville pushed the envelope on the base paths the way that you don't see a lot of teams do when they get to this level. And so, yeah, I mean, I think like that's, to me, is the strength of a College World Series is, yeah, you need to have a strong final. You'd love to have a diverse field, but like when all the games for the most part have something interesting, like, you've got something there. Even Murray State goes 0-2, but what a Cinderella story they were. And they hung around in the opener a little bit and kind of fell subject to history there against Arkansas in the elimination game. But I thought every team kind of had a little bit of a moment. Obviously, Coastal doesn't win it, but to have a 26-game winning streak into the final was pretty amazing. I thought their coach, Kevin Schnall, delivered the press conference line of the tournament when he says he can't be held responsible for another man's athleticism. I mean, that's all-time Hall of Fame type stuff there. But yeah, I agree. I thought just every day had a little bit of something, and you don't always get that in the College World Series, but I think the last 2 or 3 years, it's pretty much gone without exception that there's been some drama.
Do you think Louisville, in the way that they made it to Omaha this year, is a sustainable model in this era of college baseball? And I ask you that question from the Nebraska frame of mind. Is that something, a model that might be simpler for Nebraska to follow rather than chasing, the big bats that'll hit the ball over the wall? Or, as you wrote about in your piece, the big velocity from the mound?
Yeah, I think, that's possible. Louisville, I honestly, I look at Coastal Carolina as the team that Nebraska probably wants to have more of a blueprint for. I mean, they have some of the stolen base aspect, but they're, Coastal was a big sacrifice bunt team, diverse offense, didn't overwhelm you with power, though they could provide some of that, and then very solid in terms of pitching and defense. That's, to me, kind of that team that you want. Coastal, made great success of getting ahead. I think they'd won until the final game. They'd won 29 in a row, and they scored first. They had a history of clutch hitting, and again, they could score in different ways to where if you weren't hitting the ball out of the ballpark, you were still finding a way. So, yeah, I think Coastal, Louisville, to an extent, would be the teams that you kind of point to. And I thought the College World Series, too, kind of was a reminder of just how thin that margin for error was for Nebraska this year, where, yeah, they go into the regional and they don't keep it competitive against Oklahoma in either game. But you see this thing play out in Omaha, and you see UCLA there, which Nebraska beat on the same field a few weeks earlier. You see Oregon State there, which Nebraska won a series against those guys in Lincoln. So the potential was there, the ingredients were there for a run. It didn't happen, but it just, I think it was just another reminder again of just how this season was both frustrating and encouraging kind of simultaneously. And I do think the final field does sort of serve as a reminder that if you're really good at pitching, you're really good at defense, and you can be diverse in how you score, you have a chance. And I think that's the recipe Nebraska would like to have.
Well, we're on Coastal Carolina, and maybe them being the blueprint. Obviously, heck of a year for the Chants as national runners up. The view from the outside is that the umpire had a quick trigger, rabbit ears. That's kind of the guy's reputation. But Evan, was this a moment where Kevin Schnall gets ejected? Did that just start on Sunday? Was that carryover from Saturday? Do we think, I'm not saying Kevin Schnall is not trustworthy. Did he maybe cross a line that we don't know about? As best you can tell, what went into him getting ejected in the bottom of the first of the potential deciding game of the College World Series championship?
Well, to hear it play out, he had argued some balls and strikes previously, and the umpires had said, "We hear you, that's enough." And then he, I guess, had more to say about that from the dugout, comes out, gets ejected. The thing that didn't play into it, apparently, was when the other official fell over, and everyone was pretty adamant, and I think replay would confirm that there was no bump there. It was just sort of a trip as the argument kind of moved up that first baseline. And Schnall, if you listen to the post game afterwards, I think he was frustrated just by not being able to have a say in kind of what went on. He said he was shooed by a grown man to go back to the dugout. That's, I guess, kind of set him off a little bit. But, it's one of those deals, I think, where by the letter of the law, he probably took it a little bit too far. But if you're presiding over this game as an official, like, I think you also have to kind of understand the moment and say that, yeah, this is a championship game and a high stakes, highly emotional environment. And you just say, you wave them off. You say, okay, I hear you. And you go back and you do your thing. I think it did turn into a little bit of an ump show there. Obviously not what you're looking for, especially that early in the game. You've got a guy like Schnall, who is a career assistant, who takes his team to the championship in his first year as a head coach and doesn't even get to be a part of it in that last game. I think that's pretty disappointing, and especially for that game to be on ABC and for it to draw in a lot more maybe casual viewers than what they would get otherwise. It's a shame that it turned out that way. But I do think, if you're the NCAA, you point to the letter of the law, but I think if you're a fan or a Coastal fan or whatever, you can definitely make the argument that maybe there should have been a little bit more grace given the circumstances.
As we're talking with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald here in our Aloe Fiber VIP line, let's talk a couple SEC teams before we let you go here, Evan. Arkansas, right? A team that Nebraska is certainly familiar with. Their head coach, Dave Van Horn. Maybe the opposite of Kevin Schnall. Instead of getting too fiery, maybe he froze up, not walking. Jared Jones, who ends up hitting the walk-off single at the end of that game. But something else Husker fans are familiar with is, here we go again. We know Matt Rule's talked about that and trying to break that cycle. Did you sense any here we go again from Arkansas as that bottom of the ninth inning unfolded that sent LSU to the championship game?
Not in the moment necessarily. I think a lot of it had to do with LSU, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a team that's just hard to put down. Even when they struggle, they find a way. Like, you look at their season, and they really didn't fall outside of that one game to Omaha. They really didn't lose to, and maybe the one to Little Rock in the regional. They didn't lose a game that they shouldn't have. And like, you just kind of could feel that was the LSU kind of mystique coming on late in that game. And when they didn't turn or try to turn that double play there, you just wondered, like, man, like, it's almost like you gave them an extra out in that moment. And what are they going to do with it? And you don't expect a drop in the outfield, but I do think it kind of was more of a LSU kind of team of destiny sort of vibe than it was, something that Arkansas maybe had coming. Like, I would think if I were an Arkansas fan, I'd look more back to that 2018 game where you're a dropped foul out, or foul ball away from winning that thing, and three guys don't communicate, and then in that situation, Oregon State takes the game and then the next game to win it. So I like, that's the one to me that would be haunting. But their elimination one, there's no doubt. I mean, it's right up near the top in terms of, like, that's going to stick with you for a while. I mean, I know just watching it, like, it took me like an hour to almost digest it in terms of, like, wow, like, that series of events was so unlikely to play out that way. I personally thought Arkansas was the most complete, well-rounded team, maybe in college baseball, certainly in the College World Series field this year. And so, yeah, if you're an Arkansas fan and you've had Dave Van Horn for 20 years and you've had all this high quality play and it's resulted in no championships, I suppose I can see how your mind would start to wander and say, is this ever going to happen?
While we're on the SEC, we'll finish up there with LSU. You said team of destiny vibes. They came to Omaha as the number 6 national seed. They did what they were supposed to do in regionals and super regionals with a couple speed bumps on the road. But Evan, this isn't the same, LSU team in terms of construction and star power as it was, 2 years ago. And as I was going through the list of recent champions, I mean, back through the last decade, maybe this is unfair. I mean, the champion should always be the story. But to me, it's going to be hard to look back on 2025 in the College World Series and say LSU was the story. I mean, it's the Gage Wood effect, right? I mean, it's Murray State showing up. It's Coastal Carolina in the ejection. And again, credit to LSU that they won the dang thing and look good doing it all week long. But when you look at some of the other recent champs, they're not last year's Tennessee, with Tony Vitello and everything that came with him. The 2 years ago team from LSU, Skeens, Cruz, that whole gang. Ole Miss, last team in the field, winning it all. Mississippi State behind Sims and Bednar. Again, we're trying to be fair to LSU. It's a heck of an accomplishment to win the College World Series. But I think as far as, notable names, notable championships go, this isn't going to be one that people, at least in my opinion, look back and say, oh, yeah, I remember so much about that LSU team and how they did it. It's going to be more, oh, yeah, I guess LSU did get number 8 that year.
Oh, it's a great point. And I think it's a compliment to LSU that, the fact that they won it, people are like, okay, they didn't have to do anything extraordinary necessarily outside of maybe that Arkansas elimination game to finish it off. They were just so deep. They were so complete. They went about their business all year. You talk to Jay Johnson and that team, there was never really a turning point in that season where they kind of figured things out, because they had it figured out kind of from the get. And it was a different team from that one 2 years ago. It was a little less portal reliant. They had some, homegrown guys that were big parts of that thing. And you had Stephen Milam and Derek Curiel, who's a freshman. I think it's possible we'll look back on his career in a few years and say, okay, that guy ended up being a superstar. Maybe he wasn't quite at this point. But I think that's also why you kind of point to this College World Series and say it was so much fun, because you did have those Murray State moments, and you did have some of the other games that we're talking about. I thought the Coastal Carolina story to me is really interesting, moving into the revenue sharing era, because you've got a program that has a football team, but it wants baseball to be its thing. And it said during its run, it's going to scholarship all 34 of its roster spots moving forward. That's not something I think even the majority of power conference teams are going to be able to say. So you're seeing sort of a shift in real time for who is investing in college baseball, who thinks that it means maybe more to them or to their specific situation than it does to other places. And so I think even while this year you can kind of look at Coastal and say, wow, they were sort of an underdog or maybe under-resourced compared to the SEC schools they were facing. I think in a few years you could look back and say maybe this is the start of something, because it's just going to start to reveal how much that sport means to these individual programs.
That's Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, our guest here during On the Block. Evan, appreciate your time. Thanks for being flexible. Enjoy vacation. Safe travels. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Austin. See ya.
Evan joined us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll go to break, wrap things up for On the Block right after this.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
In today's digital world, technology works great until it doesn't. At Hamilton, we work to keep your business up and running. We are more than an IT company. We're your partner, focused on customized solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Say goodbye to tech stress and unexpected IT costs when you hire Hamilton. Together, we help you focus on what really matters. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Husker fans, the 2025 Nebraska football season is right around the corner, and we need your support in the Sea of Red at Memorial Stadium this fall. You can now purchase a Husker football 3-game mini plan for only $185. This plan includes a ticket to USC plus Akron or Houston Christian and either Michigan State, Northwestern, or Iowa. Tickets are only available while supplies last. Purchase your Husker football 3-game mini plan today, or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets. Go Big Red.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Load up on meat and more this summer at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through June 24th are $1 off ground beef, 15% off on aprons, 15% off Cornhead beer, and buy one, get one 50% off on brats and hot dogs, limit 2. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
It's been a great show. We're putting a bow on things. Strick and Austin with you. Teammates Time Out with Demo and Ash coming up momentarily. Stricky will bring you back in because you saw a kind of funny comparison between our last two NBA champions. How similarly they were constructed.
Yeah, it's it's kind of wild. So, the last two champions, they seem to, and this all happened obviously prior to the changes of the CBA and the additions and the constrictions that were put out there. So it's going to be a question of whether or not it's still possible, Austin, that you can still operate with the potential of this, this system. And what was put together that I found, got to get there it is. So the recipe, they say, for success, and we love your thought on it, 402, we don't have a lot of time on it, but obviously the recipe is to obtain a star. The star for the Celtics, obviously, was
the Blue
Jason
Dookie,
Tatum,
the Duke Blue Devil.
the Dookie. And then the star for the OKC Thunder was the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then there was a guy that each of these teams had by the name of Jalen. So go out there and get you a guy named Jalen. Not Green, but
Phoenix thought it was right there.
They thought they
were
thought they were getting the recipe, but a guy named Jalen.
Guy named Jalen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're trying to work on that. And so you have Jaylen Brown and Jalen Williams. And then you have a defensive guy, a guy who hounds and gets after it, creates some frustration out there. And that was Drew Holiday for the Celtics. And then you have that guy being Dort for OKC. And then you have a skinny big man.
Preferably white.
Preferably of the descent.
Reduced melanin. Reduced.
And so for obviously someone that showed up big, hugely Is that a word?
It is now. Strictionary.
Showed up hugely for the Celtics was Porzingis when he came back off the injury. Couple of games, he showed up for them bigly. And then Chet Holmgren.
Oxtail Sean Bradley
with a little more handle.
And
then you have another guy that, has the cream-colored skin in Derek White type.
It's shiny on the shiny dome.
Shiny dome. One with the goatee, kind of that, not the full beard, but they both kind of got the half beard working. And that is Caruso for OKC and Derek White. Is that the recipe? That was just something I thought about. Like, our team's now looking at the makeup of both of these teams and coming to the conclusion that that's the recipe.
We need a Jalen. That's what we need.
Yeah, that part.
But we'll get.
But we'll be what tomorrow?
We'll be here.
Wild Wednesday.
Wild Wednesday. Glad to have you back, Stricky. Glad that you went well.
Yeah, it was great to be back, man. It's good to be back working with you. We'll hopefully see Jay soon, and we'll get the team back together.
You still in recovery mode?
No.
You good?
I got a good nap, man.
Let's go.
And then the meal.
The Luke special. He's
showed up. That's it.
1040 O Street. Come find us, say hi, grab a cup at the mill. He's Strick. I'm Austin. It's been a blast. We got teammates stay Matt with Demo and Ash next.